and ready to strike out and hurt people with impunity at any moment. But perhaps they weren't. The burden of proof falls on the prosecutor to make the case that they were. Authors reviewed 70 pages documents at the courthouse. It was revised or amended on July 9th, 2013. Yeah, it's very, very disturbing. Even though the three gentlemen may have a checker pass, made some errors, but then be targeted as terrorists. Like I tell people, the war on terror is a conflagration with ourselves. Anyone that criticizes government, doesn't matter what paradigm you're in, whether you're in the Tea Party, Occupy, etc., you're considered a criminal in their eyes. That's how tyrannical governments think. And what's so funny about Chicago, they have a huge reputation of corruption. Alright? In all levels of that city. That's one thing I have to question. And another thing too, I do remember reading about that book, that little booklet about the right-wing terrorism. Very interesting little booklet. And what really makes me laugh is they targeted anyone that is considered that supports the Constitution, Bill of Rights, gun owners, Ron Paul supporters, Tea Party, skinheads of all kinds, regardless of race or not, any extreme leftist groups. They probably consider Occupy, possibly Occupy extreme leftists in their eyes. It's very annoying for the most. However, I will say that the gentleman from Truth Out did a real good job on this article. Gotta look at all angles. And plus, how I see it is you need to start looking at the Illinois Constitution, which I'm going to type up in a moment, because I know there's things in there which they may have violated. They may have violated, for sure. And I'm going to give you some intake from Thomas Jefferson. Let's just check this out here, see if I can get a good crack at it. Yep. Oh, yeah, look at that. Article 1 of the Illinois Constitution, Bill of Rights. I like how it says here, all men, this is Section 1, inherited right, we call it Article 1, Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the State of Illinois. Section 1, inherited and inalienable rights. All men are by nature free and independent and have certain inherited and inalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights and the protection of property, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And of course here, due process of equal protection. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor be denied the equal protection of the laws. Yeah, I find some things very intriguing. Yeah, Article 1 is pretty good in the Illinois Constitution. But let me just read a couple of things what Thomas Jefferson said about resistance and jury. We'll hit the first one here from the book The Real Thomas Jefferson, page 611. It's on the chapter The Timeless Treasures from Thomas Jefferson. It talks about the need to maintain the spirit of resistance. He states, the spirit of resistance to government is so valuable on certain occasions that I wish to be always kept alive. It will often be exercised when wrong, but better so than not to be exercised at all. That's one of the great words from Jefferson. And I'm going to hit one called jury. which is on page 504 of the same book. And I'm just going to look right here. This was written in 1789. A check on permanent judges. The people are not qualified to judge questions of law, but they are very capable of judging questions of fact in the form of juries. Therefore, they determine all matters of fact, leaving to the permanent judges to decide the law resulting from those facts. But we all know that permanent judges acquire an spirit de corps, that being known they are liable to be tempted by bribery, that they are misled by favor, by relationship, by a spirit of party, by devotion to the executive or legislative power, that it is better to leave a cause to the decision of a game of cross and pile than to that of a judge biased onto one side, and that the opinion of 12 honest jurymen gives a still better hope of right than cross and pile does. And its powers, therefore, of the juries, if they think permanent judges are under any bias whatever in any cause to take on themselves themselves to judge the law as well as the fact, they never exercise this power but when they suspect partiality in the judges, and by the exercise of this power they have been the firmest bulwarks of English liberty. Where I called upon to decide whether the people had best be omitted in the legislative and judiciary department, I would say it is better to leave them out of the legislative. The execution of the laws is more important than the making of them. That was written in 1789. So, and make sure when you do that jury selection, get the ones that don't screw around. So, and it's, yeah, like I say here, do one more. Jury, trial by an essential principle. It's from his inaugural address in 1801. I deem one of the essential principles of our government, and consequently one which ought to shape its administration, trial by juries, impartiality selected. And I hope these gentlemen will win, will be acquitted. If so, I will give them this, used against the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago. It's entitled Title 42 U.S. Code Section 1983, referred as to as Section 1983, provides every person who, under color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or usage of any state or territory or the District of Columbia, subjects or causes be subjected any citizen of the United States or any other person within the jurisdiction thereof to the privation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured by the Constitution and laws shall be liable to the party injured in an action at law, suit in equity, or other proper proceeding for redress, except that in any action brought against a judicial officer for an act or admission taken in such officer's judicial capacity, injunctive relief shall not be granted unless declaratory decree was violated or declaratory relief was unavailable. For the purpose of this section, in any act of Congress applicable exclusively to the District of Columbia shall be considered to be the statute of the District of Columbia. Well, there you have it, my friends. And I hope and pray that these gentlemen, in good faith, if they done no wrong, make it happen. Support them. Do your donations. I am going to put both sites on there as well on my Spreaker, and you can send your comments, thumbs up, thumbs down, middle fingers, don't matter, on Spreaker, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. And still go working on SoundCloud. All right, try to get that done as soon as possible. Until then, my friends, be good to each other. Peace, positive blessings. Until we meet again. And my quote: demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate societies. Have a good day, folks. I love you all.